feeling run down, feeling a bit like, ugh. I've had lots of content going out. I thought I'd try something new. And then I picked up one of these. Now you know what one of these are. You know what's containing inside it. Not a big drinker of it. In fact, I don't think anybody should be drinking it at all. Because I'm not a sponsor, I am going to open it up. And I am going to be working on a project. And I'm going to be using polymer clay. So if you want to see what I'm going to do with this can, well, first I'm going to get the can now I've opened it, pull up my polymer clay, which is Fimo, and do the only thing that you can do with a can of caffeinated booze. Yes, let's go over here and do the only thing that you should do with this stuff. That's better. Now the can's empty, let's begin, shall we? So yeah, we got the monster can. Found out very quickly that cans aren't magnetic, and I wanted to make some claws coming out of the thing. I couldn't really decide whether I wanted the claws coming out or if I wanted to just have like a face with a monster at the top of it. I sort of played with that for a while. Eventually thought, you know what, I'm going to make little holes and sort of try and make it magnetic as possible. We saw that little tin piece there, which I'm going to replace inside later on. So I poked out a few little holes where the sort of claws are coming down through, because again the cans aren't magnetic. You know, it's an even falser thing that you got with monster cans. So again, I cut out a little bit around where it says tear into a can of monster. I thought it was quite funny to have that actually underneath or on top of where I was going to have the face. Packed a load of like some wadding packing that I got from like a shipping box inside it. Actually, I've cleaned all of the inside before I've done all of this. So preparing, you got to make sure you got to do all that. But I sort of had a bit of a time sort of making that fit in there. Found out that again I couldn't get it to stay in there with anything sort of any kind of packing, so I had to remove all the packing and put all the put in some stuff in there, and still couldn't find a way of getting that to stay in there. And eventually just sort of went, I'm gonna have to go to the shop quickly, and got myself some glue. But yeah, it did not want to stay in there with any kind of way I was drying it, so I got some super glue. Just any kind of bog standard super glue. It wasn't expensive stuff. It took me a while to actually get it to stay in there. I've used a whole tub of super glue just to get that piece of tin to stay in there, because again, tin is meant to be magnetic, and that piece of tin was. Monster can and things like that aren't magnetic. You'd think they are, being metal and tin and stuff. I don't think they're actually tin, some sort of fake metal. But yeah, took me a while. Did all of that, got that to stick, and put the wadding back in. Now you can see the magnets will stay where I wanted them to be, because I'm going to be making little claws later. And I got myself some tin foil. Just sort of boxed down the tin foil, sort of moulded that around, sort of where I wanted to put the face and where I was going to put the head, and still wasn't sure how the head was going to look, because I could not got no illustration or working from anything, completely sort of off my own brain, sort of what will work, what will work. Sort of tried to get it to stay in as best as possible, stuffing it in all the crannies, because I wanted to give it still the effect that it was bursting out of the can without covering up the can too much, but still having it sort of stay in there. Getting some clay now, just flatten it out, so any kind of bog standard flattening kind of thing. Getting nice and flat, not too thin but not too fat. Again, working on what I've already know from working on previous things, previous content and stuff for the channel. What I can use, stuffing all that in and getting it all nice and stuffed. Again, trying to make it look like it's coming from the outside, from the inside of the can out, like a monster's bursting out of the can, because it's can of monster. Got to faff around with that for a bit. So should I give it a jaw? Should I make the head? Should I make the mouth close? Should I make it open? What should I do? And it's like claws. Nearly forgetting the claws. Again, I'll put the magnets inside the claws so they'll stay there. And sort of just faffed around with those. Give them a little bit of a finger, because again I wanted it to like have the finger sort of coming out, like almost like it's poking out the claw mark that it's put through. As the monster has like a score car, like a scratch mark down thing as its main logo at the end. I thought it looked cool. It took me an absolute pain in the ass to make it, but I'm making this one for my son for his birthday. And I thought I wanted it to be something fun, just something a bit fun to play with or to have on the shelf, and stuff like that. Yeah, just kept faffing and faffing and faffing. Okay, so that's everything done. Everything's hardened, all the base part of it. I went ahead and made myself some teeth off screen because I wanted to give it an open mouth, because I was thinking about it, because it's another day now. I've gone and baked it about 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the oven, and you want to bake it at. Again, this is just the basic core part. It's not anything special, and so I'm going to mould on top of this, give it all its features and things. I wanted to give it an open mouth, because again I'm going to be doing something a bit later with the open mouth part. And yeah, made some teeth for it, but first you've got to mould the mouth, get the jaw, sort of open jaw, make it, give it some lips, give it a nose, give it some eyeballs and all that good stuff. Don't forget the tongue. The tongue is very important, and you'll find out why that is important later on in the video. Like I said, I made some teeth whilst I was making the core. I was like, should I make some teeth? I think teeth would be good, and I didn't want to sort of have soft teeth and have to be faffing with them, so I sort of pre-made them, put them into a bit of a point on both sides, so I could actually place them in the soft clay. You see me sort of faffing around where I wanted to put the teeth. Got a couple of like big sharper teeth, and sort of almost like orcish teeth, but I wanted to move away from an orc and just have it like a monster. Again, I'm trying to make a monster out of thing. Still don't know what I'm making. I'm just sort of going, I wonder what works. Got with the tongue. Now, I have sent the tongue, so I have sent this away, and I will now recommend not using Royal Mail ever to send anything that you've made yourself, because the tongue, now you can see me fortifying it and making it stronger by putting a bit of tinfoil in the middle so it wouldn't break off. And if it hadn't been sent by Royal Mail, it probably wouldn't have, because the package, I sent him two packages. One I sent them at the same time. One was completely damaged, which was the polymer clay, had fragile and everything over the top of it, had cut marks in it, had all sorts of damage done to it, and when he had actually opened it up, it got broken off. But like I said, I wanted to sort of make the tongue into a functional thing. You just saw what it was going to be, and you'll see what it actually turned it into. Again, I'm just sort of faffing with features. So where to place the eyes after placing the nose, what kind of nose I'm going to have it. Am I going to have it like a porky piggy nose, or am I going to have like a witch type nose, or a pointy nose and stuff? I ended up just going with the porcupine nose. Putting some sort of wrinkles around its eyes, adding some features here and there, just sort of going, oh, what's that look? Does that look? How's that look? And just sort of faffing around as I go along. Again, I have no idea what it's going to look like. I'm just sort of going, oh, does that look alright? Yeah, that works, and just sort of keep faffing. thought it needed some ears. Wasn't sure if I wanted to put ears on because it is it is meant to be sort of poking out of the can as it's bursting out the can. But I thought, you know, I'll give it some ears, give it some pointy ears. I modelled up some ears, and I think that's the last thing I actually did to the clay, and I'm kind of happy the way it looks. What do you reckon, guys? Let me know in the comments. So yeah, that's how it all turned out. As you can see, it's all hardened, it's all ready, and you can see what I did with the tongue. I've made it a sort of novelty thing, so I like to make novelty things, and it's a novelty shaver holder, or razor holder, wherever you call them. I thought it would be quite fun because it's a present from his son for his birthday, and as he's come of age of needing to shave, I thought it would be a fun little thing for him to have either in the bathroom or sort of on the windowsill or wherever he's going to keep his shaver. And the claws are looking like they should, and as you can see, they're fully magnetic. They will stick wherever they go. The stick, I kind of didn't really need to make the holes, but I did, and they're done, and it looks, well, it looks pretty good, I reckon. I don't know, what do you reckon? Let me know again in the comments down below. But it's time for painting. So we're going to be grabbing out the paint. I'm mainly going to be using green. It's acrylic paint, as you can see there. You can find this brand up on Amazon, but if you can't find it because it's out of stock at the moment, have a look around. Have a look on the websites. Obviously there's no point going to a craft shop because there isn't any open. Have a look on the internet, and I'm pretty sure you'll find a acrylic paint. We're using gloss, like not gloss, but glossy type silky paint to make it look a little bit wet and sort of thing. And now the things you're going to need is a paint tray, like you just saw, some paint brushes, different sizes. You don't want to stick with just one size paintbrush. I'd go with some fairly good ones. You don't want to use crappy ones if you're going to be doing detail. Definitely going to need some water. That's one for washing your brushes out between colours and coats, and sort of splash a little bit because it helps with mixing of paint. You don't have to put paint on a paint tray. You can put paint on anything that will hold it, really. You can put it in a cup. You can put it onto, I've used in the past, little trays for micro meal things. You know, when you get a Big Daddy meal or whatever, you can have that. So we're starting out with some green. We'll mix that with a little bit of white to sort of lighten down the tone, because the tone or the green's quite dark, so I'm going to go a little bit lighter with it. And then we added a little bit of yellow because I'm trying to get it to the same colour as the logo of the Monster can. And I'm thinking of doing a few different Monsters or different cans. If you think that's a good idea, guys, again, let me know in the comments down below, and leave a like, because that really does help let me know whether you want to see more of it, really. And just mix the colour and get your paintbrush nice and wet before mixing the paint. Because it helps sort of fluid out the paint and makes your paint go a little bit further for one. And helps to mix the paint, because sometimes your paint can be a little bit thick, and it just sort of helps to thin it out a little bit. And just mixing and mixing until I feel like I've got the right tone or the right colour, and yeah. I'm kind of happy with the way that what tone that is now, so I'm pretty much ready to get the painting. I think just a quick smush around it, mush, make sure that green nice and fluid, and give it its first coat. This will take, it does take 3 coats, I think, all on different colours, because I do different colours on each bit and things like that. But bear in mind, if you're going to use polymer clay, it doesn't always cover up on the first coat, so you're going to probably need to do it a few times, because one, the clay itself soaks in the paint, and you want that to happen because it locks in the paint and it doesn't and you don't see the clay too much, but it yeah, you want to give it at least a few coats. Don't mind if you do see the clay underneath on your first coat, because you can faff around it. each time, because each time you put another layer of paint on, you can either change the tone or add a little bit of more texture in, or texturizing and stuff like that, with tones, I should say, not texture. Yeah, tones and things like that. So bear in mind, if you are going to do this yourself, or if you are doing some paint, you're probably going to need to paint it a few times. Decided to go over the whole thing, give it a one base green coat, and so I've gone over the teeth, gone over the mouth, gone over the eyes, gone over the face, and sort of went, and all the way, literally the whole thing got a coat of the same colour, because I wasn't sure what colours, again I'm not sure what colours I was going to make everything, so I was like, should I give everything a green coat, and then we'll work from there. We'll see what colours will go after we put the green on. And if you're impatient like me, you can dry it with a hairdryer or something that's warm, but blows warm air. Obviously not your mouth, because that ain't gonna work. But yeah, give it a dry, and you're ready for another coat. Give it another 5 or 10 minutes after you've dried it out, because it will still be warm and pliable, and you don't want that. So yeah, but as you can see, it's still a little bit, so you can still see through the green. You can still see the clay underneath. It doesn't matter what colour clay you're using. Well, I mean, you can use coloured clay if you want, and you completely don't have to paint it at all. But yeah, I give it another coat, give it another lick of the same colour. As I was painting the face, I thought to myself, there's no point going over the whole thing. I think what I'm going to do, I thought to myself, is give the tongue a colour, give the lips a colour, and obviously whiten out the teeth. Wasn't sure what to do with the inner of the mouth, but as you can see, that second coat, it looks a lot better, looks a lot more fresh, and you can't see the clay at all with that second coat. Yeah, got to do inside the mouth. I went with the darker, just went with the basic bog standard green we started with, because it sort of matches the can colour, the dark green, and yeah, I thought that would look well. With the tongue, I mixed a lot more yellow in with the green, the same green you can see that we started with, so I added a hell of a lot more yellow, and I wanted it, again, making it look more like toxic, you know, stuff, because that's what I think out of these drinks are kind of toxic, so I thought I'd give them a toxic type looking tongue. Again, it's looking a bit wet, but that is because it hasn't had blow dry. It needs to dry. You can leave blow dry, or you can leave for about 12 hours, I would say, to dry it, but it depends on how impatient you are, and I'm very impatient, so I like to get on with it. Because I was going to start with the teeth, I wanted to give the finger claws a little bit of a yellowy, again I'm trying to keep it to the can colours, give it a bit of a yellow tinge to the fingernails, so I didn't go straight out white. A very, very light colour of the tongue, you can see there. Just utilising the same colours I've got, just using different tones, but yeah, again, just a bit of white, bit yellow, to make them look a bit more, you know,